Hey guys, welcome back to xxwiki, your knowledge channel. So today's video is on Mandinka people of West Africa. The funny thing is that I'm actually from South Sudan and my tribe is called Dinka. And literally Mandinka translates in Dinka. It basically means, so in Dinka will be Moj Dinka or Mojing or Monjang or all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's a connection between the Dinka and the Mandinka. I don't know, I guess we'll find out in this video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next clip. The Mandingo or the Menelik are a West African ethnic group found in southern Mali, the Gambia, and eastern Guinea. Numbering about 11 million, they are the largest subgroup of the Mende peoples and one of the largest ethnic linguistic groups in Africa. They speak the Manding languages in the Mende language family.
Spoon in the English language means kojaro in the Mandinka language. And cooking pot in the English language means kalero in the Mandinka language. Trouser in the English language means kuto in the Mandinka language.
The Mandinka are the descendants of the Mali Empire, which rose to power in the 13th century under the rule of King Sadate Keyate, and also the richest man in the world named Mwana Musa and Kunta Kente are from Mali as well. The Mandinka migrated west from the Niger River in search of better agricultural lands and more opportunities for conquest. Nowadays, the Mandinka inhabit the West Sudanian savanna region, extending from the Gambia and the Casamance region in Senegal to Ivory Coast. Mandinka constitute the largest ethnic group only in the countries of Mali, Guinea, and the Gambia. Most Mandinka live in family-related compounds in traditional rural villages. Their traditional society has featured socially stratified caste. Also, most Mandinka communities are led by a chief and a group of elders. Mandinka has also been an oral society where mythologies, history, and knowledge are verbally transmitted from one generation to the next. Their music and literacy traditions are preserved by a caste of Groots, known as Jilis, as well as Glades and brotherhoods like the Donso, aka Hunters. Between the 16th and 19th century, many Muslims and non-Muslim Mandinka people, along with numerous other African ethnic groups, were captured, enslaved, and shipped to the Americas. They intermixed with the slaves and workers of other ethnicities, creating a Creole culture. And also the Mandinka people significantly influenced the African heritage of descendant peoples now found in Brazil, the southern United States, and to a lesser extent the Caribbean. Mandinka culture is rich in tradition, music, and spiritual rituals. Mandinkas continue a long oral history tradition through stories, songs, and proverbs. However, more than half of the adult population can read the local Arabic script, including Mandinka Ajami. Small Quranic schools for children where this is taught are quite common. Mandinka children are given their name on the 8th day after their birth, and the children are almost always named after a family member. That's important. Today, over 99% of Mandinkas are Muslims, and Mandinkas recite chapters of the Quran in Arabic. Some Mandinka synthesis Islam and traditional African religions. Among these synthesis spirits can be controlled mainly through a power of a mirabout who knows the protective formulas. In most cases, no important decision is made without first consulting who have Islamic training, write Quranic verses on slips of paper, and sew them into leather pouches. These are worn as protective amulets. The Mandinkas have a rich oral history that is passed down through roots. This passing down of oral history through music has made music one of the most distinctive traits of the Mandinkas. They have long been known for their drumming and also for their unique musical instrument, the kora. The kora is a 21-string West African harp made out of a half-dried, hollowed-out wood covered with cow or goat skin. The strings are made of fishing lines. These were traditionally made from a cow's tendons. It is played to accompany a goat singing or simply on its own. The praise singers are called Jalabis or Jealous in Mandinka. While farming is the predominant profession among the Mandinkas, men also work as tailors, butchers, taxi drivers, woodworkers, metal workers, soldiers, nurses, and extension workers for aid agencies. However, most women, 95%, tend to the home, children, and animals as well as work alongside the men in the fields. Marriages are traditionally arranged by family members rather than either the bride or groom. This practice is particularly prevalent in the rural areas. Kola nuts, a bitter nut from a tree, are formally sent by the suitor's family to the male elders of the bride-to-be, and if accepted, the courtship begins. Polygamy has been practiced among the Mandinka since pre-Islamic days. The Mandinka castes are hereditary, and marriages outside the caste are forbidden. Their caste system is similar to those of other ethnic groups in the African Sahel region and found across the Mandinka communities such as those in Gambia, Mali, Guinea, and other countries. The Mandinka people have traditionally been a socially stratified society like many West African ethnic groups with castes. The Mandinka Society, states Arnold, a professor of West African Studies and African Politics, has been divided into three castes. The freedom, known as Foro, and slaves, known as Jung. So it's funny because in my culture, Jung basically means dog or like wild animals. So slaves for them means Jung or jungle. And the third one is artisans and praise singers. Artisans and praise singers known as Nyamolo. The freedom castes are primarily farmers, for example, while the slave strata include labor providers to the farmers, and as well as leather workers, pottery makers, metalsmiths, growers, and others. And the Mandinka Muslims, clerics, and scribes have traditionally been considered a separate occupational caste called Jakhani, with their Islamic roots traceable to about the 13th century. Started in the Manding region, what is now southern Mali. Hunters from the Ghana Empire, or known as the Wagadu, founded the Mandinka country in Mandin. The mythical origin of the Malinke and the BAMBARA people are their mythical creatures, Kontran and Sanan, the founding hunter brotherhood. The country was famous for the large number of animals and as well as its dense vegetation. So it was a very popular hunting ground. The Camara are believed to be the oldest family to have lived in Menden after having left Wailata, a region of Wagadu in the southeast of present-day Mauritania. A very large number of families that make up the Mandinka community were born in Menden. Mandingo is a province from which the Mali Empire started under the leadership of Sidiata Keita. The Mandin were initially a part of many fragmented kingdoms that formed after the collapse of Ghana Empire in the 11th century. So slave raiding, capturing, and trading the Mandinka regions may have been existed in significant numbers before the European colonial era, as it is evidenced in the memoirs of the 14th century Moroccan traveler and Islamic historian Ibn Battuta. Slaves were part of the socially stratified Mandinka people, and several Mandinka language words such as Jung or Jungo, like I said, refers to slaves. And there were 14 Mandinka kingdoms along the Gambia River in the Senegal Gambia region during the early 19th century. For example, where slaves were part of the social strata in these kingdoms. According to Toby Green, selling slaves along with gold was already a significant part of the trans-Saharan caravan trade across the Sahel between West Africa and the Middle East after the 13th century. With the arrival of the Portuguese explorers in Africa, as they looked for a sea route to India, the European purchase of slaves had begun. The shipment of slaves by the Portuguese, primarily from the Jolof people, known as the Senegalese, along with some Mandinka, started in the 15th century, states Green. but the earliest evidence of a trade involving Mandinka slaves is from and after 1497 CE. In parallel with the start of the transatlantic slave trade, the institution of slavery and slave trading of West Africans to the Mediterranean region and inside Africa continued as a historical normal practice. Slavery grew significantly between the 16th and 19th century. The Portuguese considered slave sources in Guinea and Senegal, Gambia, parts of Mandinka territory, as belonging to them, with their 16th to 18th century slave trade related documents referring to our Guinea and complaining about slave traders from other European nations subsiding them in the slave trade. Their slave exports from this region nearly doubled in the second half of the 18th century compared to the first. So that's the end of the video about the Mandinka people of West Africa. Very interesting, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and comment down below and like this video if you guys really enjoyed it. But let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.